Can you take us through the sponsorship process? I'm sure each one was different. You said you had 6 sponsors?
No, 6 revenue streams. We have, I think, at least 9 sponsors.
That's right, I'm sorry, my bad.
Okay, so sponsorship is different than product placement, okay? Product placement, you basically, you want to have company X in your film, and so you have to clear it to be able to have that their IP, their trademark, their logo in your film. And so, but if you're good at it, you could get a lot of free stuff out of it. I've had directors that I've worked with in the past challenge me, can you get me this? Can you get me that? And generally, oftentimes I can get them crazy stuff. But it's a matter of knowing how to do it. And you have to know what you're asking for. And you need to give them a reason why you're asking for it. And you need to make sure you have your contracts buttoned up and everything else as well. Now, in terms of sponsorship, it's a matter of making sure that they know that there's going to be an audience for your project. And so that's one reason why you build audience early on. And with that being said, you have to make the sponsor as comfortable with the project as possible and be very transparent about what you're doing. Brands do not like when you bash their brand. Obviously, that's not going to even work. I mean, we've even had brands say that they have to be their protagonist, not the antagonist.
Wow.
And so it gets to be a little bit tricky on certain things. But the sponsorship process is creating a deck, knowing where and how their identity is going to be seen. What their activations are going to be above and beyond just the picture itself, in terms of, are there going to be live events? Is there going to be premieres? Is there going to be, anywhere where they could, attach themselves to? You have to provide all this packages for the sponsors, and so it's work. It's a lot of work to be able to get it, but we were able to raise, about 20% of our budget came from sponsorship.
Wow. Oh my goodness. And how are you choosing which sponsors to approach?
Research, and what I want, I guess you would say. Literally, for Billboard, I first went to local businesses because we wanted to feel authentic. And so it only made sense for us to show off local businesses. And then after that, we green screen the billboards in the film so we can actually change out them all. If we go to India, we could change out the billboards to Hindi, French, the same sort of thing. And again, just think about an entrepreneur, think about like a business person. And we did that so that the brands could then see the content so that they would okay it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of another reason why too, is to try and mitigate as much risk as possible.
So you find some brands that you think would be a good fit, and then you're calling them, you're sending an email?
I always call first. And it's a matter of, then it's tracking down the right person you need to be speaking to, because every company is different. Some of them, it's a brand manager. Some of them is a CMO. Some of them is they have a sponsorship coordinator. Some of them are, they're movie development people. For instance, some companies use a third party. I think it's tier 3 and a bunch of other ones that they use as a clearinghouse for things, so you then have to talk to them. It's a lot of legwork, a lot of legwork. But I've been doing it for so many years that there's one gentleman that was at Lafayette College. He was a junior in college and wanted to intern for me over the summer, and I'm like, this is what you're going to be doing. And he's like, how am I going to do that? I'm like, I'm going to teach you. I'll tell you what you need to do. And he would come back with me with law questions all the time and everything else. And by the end of the summer, he could be hired by any major studio. Because you're scrappy.
Once you've already established who the brand manager is, maybe you've had a phone call, maybe you've sort of made this initial contact, you're sending this, is it a pitch deck?
Oh yeah,
okay.
You put a deck and then you actually even try and show how their brand is going to be seen in the content as well.
And then you give them how much time to kind of look at it? What's the protocol?
A week.
A week, okay.
Then you start badgering.
And
then you start negotiating. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is so different. I could have had some major brands on our billboards. They didn't want to necessarily give me money, but they would have done it in trade for a lot of exposure, and I walked away from those deals.
Why?
Because I felt like my project had more value, and I don't know. In retrospect, I wish I would have for two of them, quite honestly. But I made the wrong decision. Straight up, I don't know what to say. Because we could have done some fun things, but at the same time, it might have limited us from other things. And also, too, one of them was, did I want them to be a part of the project? Deep down inside, what they're selling, did I really want them a part of it? And so that was like kind of like a gut call that I made, yeah.
Right. Because the thing is, that's going to live on in your film.
Yeah.
If you don't feel right about that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm not telling you who it was.
No, that's okay. I wasn't going to ask, but now my mind is going to all different places. Wow.
Yeah. See, because you have to have integrity. That's the biggest thing. It's like even though you're an entrepreneur and you think about the business side of the film business, you still have to have integrity and a vision. And that's the thing. It's like you can't sell out because if you sell out, what are you going to do next?
That's such it's funny because I just watched this documentary on The Clash.
Oh, sure.
And so it was like because Joe Strummer passed away.
Yeah.
It was like 16 years ago or something. And I was looking at all the comments, and people were just, they sold out and they became champagne socialists and all. But who wouldn't want to go to a certain level though? Like I get kind of frustrated with the whole sellout notion, and I realize that's a very indie argument because there's commercial, there's indie, there's the integrity of the creativity.
It's funny because I don't look at it as selling out. I think it's a different way of discovering your pain as an artist. Because I think that all artists are trying to overcome some sort of pain so that they can be understood. I know I am. So I'm only really speaking from my own experience, but it's like, you give The Clash as an example, and I wouldn't say they sold out. They just figured out a different way to display their pain. I mean, they did have success, meteoric success, mind you, and in a form that wasn't even a form yet, a music form. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can say the Sex Pistols before them, but
did they get as much radio play as The Clash did?
No. I mean, The Clash went international,
sure.
not just out of the UK. But at the same time, it's just a matter of I just think that who doesn't like champagne? I don't know what to tell you.
You can still be a socialist and drink champagne.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, those are someone else's words, not mine.
Yeah.
Mind you, I don't think they sold out, but it was just so fascinating to that whole argument. So, and I know that especially in certain genres, that's a very touchy thing, is selling out. In certain genres, whether it's punk rock or certain, whatever style.
Well, it's funny because growing up, as a punker, we had to have those people we'd call posers.
Oh, sure.
Those people that thought they were and wanted to be, but they weren't true.
I've
but then also too, it's like I've got friends that are artists and that are actors and musicians and so forth that feel like, oh, well, they sold out. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean? That they actually have some sort of commercial success and you don't, and you're jealous?